The latest tech.
I'm Alexa. I can answer your questions.
Interviews.
And we are evolving, and we are seeing an amazing opportunity that's happening.
Accessibility.
Accessibility is one of our core values.
This is Double Tap TV.
Welcome to another exciting edition of Double Tap TV. Today, we're spending a full hour with you guys, and it's because it's that time of the year. It's time to talk all about the Consumer Electronics Show, CES 2021. As we always do, if you want to get involved, please reach us via email. It is feedback@ami.ca. On Twitter, we're at Double Tap Canada. If you use that hashtag, which is #DoubleTap, we always get to your questions. I am Marc Aflalo. By my side every single week is Stephen Scott. Stephen, what an amazing time of the year to be in this business, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, you think of all the horrific things going on in the world at the moment, and, then we turn to technology, and there are so much advancements. And, I think the thing is, a lot of people sometimes see technology as the enemy, but I think it is very much our friend if we use it properly, if we're smart about it. And technology, as we've seen at CES this year, really has moved on and can really help us in some meaningful ways.
When it comes to CES, Stephen, there's so much ground to cover. But I wanted to start by kind of addressing the virtual elephant in the room, which is the virtual nature of this conference this year. Normally, we see hundreds of thousands of people converge in Las Vegas, as you did last year, and get hands-on with all the latest tech. But this year is much, much different, is it not?
Oh, totally. I mean, the whole idea of attending this in my onesie, whilst wearing, wearing my onesie, I should say, just my onesie. Actually, I think I'm giving way too much information. But yes, that and drinking coffee, enjoying the event at my own pace as well. Has been a real boon. And I think although I know a lot of people want to get back on the road, and I get that, but personally, I think this is a great way for us, especially as blind people. I know I always bring it back to this, but, for me, it has been a lot easier this year and a lot more enjoyable because I was actually able to find out things that I wouldn't have known because I was able to explore so much more, than trying to find my way around all these different hotels and locations. And you know what? I didn't sweat once, Mark. I got through it without sweating.
Less stress is definitely, honestly, one of the reasons that I find that covering CES when you're not actually there is actually a lot easier. Stephen, let's kick things off and let's welcome our first guest who's going to set the stage pretty much for the entire show. Rick Kowalski is the Director of Industry Analysis and Business Intelligence from the organizing body of CES, and that is the Consumer Technology Association. Rick, thank you so much for being here. You're kicking things off for us. First of all, are all the big names going to show up to this, this year's event, even though it's all virtual?
Many big names, and we had press events from companies like LG, Samsung, Verizon, keynoted. We have car manufacturers here too. GM, Mary Barra from GM presented, and we also have AMD, Intel. So we got all the usual suspects in the industry together again. So that was good.
Rick, hi, it's Stephen Scott here. So tell me, what do you think the trends we are seeing coming out of CES this year are?
You name it. The consumer technology industry has just gone so broad. It's such a spectrum of products. So, usually you have the TVs and the computers, but you also have smartphones, you have digital health devices. Smart home is a huge one too. Just anything you can put a sensor in, anything you can digitize, that's going to be in the consumer technology industry now. And also, like I said, car manufacturers, that's probably the most high technology now when you're talking about self-driving vehicles. So like I said, there's just so many different products. A note on the self-driving vehicles, because that's kind of where I pay a lot of attention to. I look at that as kind of the new space race. Trying to get a vehicle to act like a human or drive better than a human. And that's just going to spawn so many different technologies, just like the space race did, that trickles out into the general population over time. So all those sensors and the AI built in is just going to kind of sift through all the different devices out there over time.
Rick, we love talking autonomous vehicles because of the benefits, especially to the low vision community. Being able to own a car and actually use it. There are obviously so many pluses. What are the biggest challenges that you feel, face the market in terms of getting to market with an autonomous vehicle?
There are challenges all across all of those areas. I'd say for engineers, it's really trying to cover all those different scenarios that a vehicle might be in. So we're really doing it by baby steps, closed circuits of, road that they can safely operate on. It's also consumers getting used to the idea, but our research has shown people are open to this idea now, and especially when you're talking about safety and you're talking about accessibility too. That's a great point. People who just can't drive can have a vehicle. I love that idea. So I think, it's policymakers in a lot more states are opening up regulations for at least tests on these vehicles. And what we are seeing in the meantime, we don't have full autonomy in vehicles yet, but you're getting a lot of safety features in vehicles right now. Just those safety features that keep you in your lane and keep you from crashing into people. Automatic emergency braking is something that the industry has been trying to put in all cars right now. So this is it's faster moving than you think. It's just in aspects that you may not realize, but those cars are getting smarter and smarter. So it's good. It's good for us all.
Rick, before we let you go, if you were to pick one overarching theme that you feel will kind of run through this year's conference or has run through the conference, what do you think that would be?
If I were to just pick one category out of all of it, I think smart home has probably been the most interesting in the past year and the coming year. We're all sitting at home a lot, and you're all becoming very aware of what we could add to our house in terms of all the different tech out there. And smart home is just growing. Like I said, you can add a sensor to anything now. So people are really building out, home security. You get the smart doorbell. People are getting much more comfortable with smart speakers and smart displays and just these things around the house that can just help you make your home life a little more comfortable in this challenging time.
Rick Kowalski, thank you so much for being here with us on Double Tap TV. And on that note, guys, we've got an amazing show lined up for you this week. It's an hour-long special all about CES 2021. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to kick off our product showcase and our discussion with a pretty big name in the industry, Stephen. I think you might know it. It is Samsung.
I can't wait.
Love Double Tap TV? Listen to AMI Audio for Double Tap Canada every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern for news and reviews on everything tech. This is Double Tap TV.
Welcome back to Double Tap TV, our CES 2021 hour-long special. Marc Aflalo and Stephen Scott with you. I guess, Stephen, you could call us our viewers' virtual guide for this year's conference, could you not?
Absolutely, Mark. And what better way to start that journey than with TVs?
Oh, exactly. And our next guest is the National Training Manager for Samsung Canada, here to talk all things television. Jeff Ingram, thanks for being here with us on Double Tap TV.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Jeff, usually at CES, you'd walk into the Samsung booth and you'd take a couple of minutes to take in the glory of all the displays. That's what I certainly did last year, especially those TVs. Where would you start this year in terms of Samsung's offerings?
Start at the best. I mean, the micro LED technology is kind of the future. We introduced the Wall, which was a mammoth television that was basically modular, that you could create your own size. But, it was generally you would have to have a consultant. They would figure out the size. They would basically be a 3-day operation to actually set it up. But this year we actually have something that you can just take out of the box and place it on your TV stand or hang it on your wall. So that's the excitement about micro LED, is it now is coming to more consumers. However, it still carries quite a big price tag. However, as with any new technology, it might be a little bit expensive at the start, but the main thing is you're going to start to see pricing come down eventually. So micro LED is basically each individual pixel is its own light source, very similar to OLED technology. However, the big difference is there's no worry of screen image retention or burn-in, and we can drive it, over 2,000 nits, and that's 100%. That means the entire screen, every pixel turned on can be over, 1,000 nits of brightness, actually 2,000 nits of brightness. So that's the exciting thing, and certainly we're really happy and excited to get more micro LED in consumers' homes.
Jeff, TVs aren't like phones, which are purchased every single year and almost recycled on an annual basis. So when people are looking to buy a new TV, we're looking like 5 years down the road. And we want to make sure that we have what we need. We want to, future-proofing those TVs. So how important is marketing those features to the consumer when you launch a new product like these at CES?
Yeah, that's a great question. The life cycle average is about 7 years. And even then, that TV doesn't get thrown out. It gets relegated to maybe the basement or maybe a spare bedroom. So it is important to think about the future. So when shopping for a TV, yes, we have some newest and latest technology. So it's a balance for each customer to figure out how much they're willing to spend on not only enjoying the TV today, and they're still going to get great years of enjoyment, but also thinking maybe a couple years down the road, as an example, with 8K resolution. As more and more content becomes available, we have mobile phones that can shoot in 8K. The game consoles are capable of delivering 8K now. So now's a time where you maybe start thinking about, maybe I should invest in 8K so that when more and more content becomes available, I'll be able to enjoy that resolution, especially in those larger screen sizes. And also keep in mind that, we're always trying with TVs is, adding features. Even though you bought it this year, some new features, we can't do it all the time due to processors and whatnot. But sometimes we want to give consumers features that we're introducing this year, maybe for their TV that they purchased last year. And a good example of that would be something like AirPlay, a feature that we introduced last year, but we made it compatible with TVs that were 2 and 3 years old before AirPlay was featured on our 2020 TV sets. So yeah, definitely a balance of giving customers stuff today, but also making sure that they're going to be excited about the future and what their TV can do.
Jeff, without a lot of 8K content, we rely on the TV to upscale existing content to look good. How do you handle that?
Yeah, the upscaling is absolutely critical. It's like the engine that drives the car. You need to have a good engine. And now when you're talking about not just 4K resolution, when so much content out there is still, 480i or, 720p, not even full HD, the importance of upscaling is very critical. And especially on an 8K TV, where you're talking about upscaling up to 33 million pixels of information, that's a massive amount of data, and you just need to have an engine that is capable of, cleaning up the images, making them look a little bit sharper, adjusting the color because there's a limited color space that those older programs are using as well. So there's so much going on in terms of just the upscaling alone, never mind some of the other features when it comes to audio, some of the smart TV features, about, calculating and how you're using the backlight control to what you see on the image on the screen. So there's so much that goes on sort of in the background. It's not just about the picture coming in and cleaning it up and upscaling it. There's so much more. And certainly Samsung, one of our biggest industries is semiconductor technology. And that gives us an advantage over many others to be able to give you a better picture. You can have some of these, great technologies and high resolution and different backlight control, but it's the processor that controls everything, which is why it's so critical.
Jeff, before we let you go, what kind of assistive technologies are on board that help people with disabilities, specifically low vision?
Very good question. Yeah, we have already a feature that's been in our TVs for a couple of years now. It's called See Colors. It's basically an application in our smart TV platform that will allow you to make adjustments to the display based on your sight challenges. So, people who have, see colors a different way, we have the ability to make some adjustments on the TV to optimize picture performance for those individuals. For someone, who needs to read closed captioning, sometimes when you have subtitles and closed captioning, it's kind of 2 layers of text on the screen at the same time. Well, now we have a feature where you can actually move the closed captioning text up to the middle of the screen. So, that's an advantage. And also, we also have a feature where, sign language. Sometimes that little box in the bottom right corner can be difficult to see, depending on how far away you are from your television. We have a 200% zoom control for that as well. So lots of great features for people who have difficulty.
Jeff Ingram, thank you so much for joining us. Mark.
There is so much more to cover in our hour-long CES 2021 special. If you haven't already connected with us, please do so on Twitter. We are at @DoubleTapCanada. Use the hashtag #AskDoubleTap, and we will not only follow you back, but we'll get back to you. When we come back, a company that's taking eye care to new levels, especially when you can't leave your home. It is Double Tap TV.
For more great Double Tap TV content, visit ami.ca/doubletap. This is Double Tap TV.
Welcome back to Double Tap TV. I am Marc Aflalo. Always by my side is Stephen Scott. Stephen, if you could monitor your eye health from the comfort of your home, would you do that?
Oh, absolutely. And thanks to this next company, we now can. Our next guest is the VP of Marketing at a company called IQ. It's a company launching the second generation of their at-home vision test. Now, Phoebe joins us from the company. Tell us a little about the company itself.
Sure, I'd be happy to go into it a little bit. So IQ, the company, we were formed about 5-something years ago by my two co-founders, Dr. John Surrey and Tibor Laxey. So they've all worked in technology and consumer retail for some years. And Tibor actually encountered upon a MIT patent and asked John if he wanted to help create a better world for people who need vision correction by offering accessible vision tests everywhere. So creating an affordable solution for vision testing. So that's how IQ started, with a goal to provide affordable, accessible, and accurate eye care for everyone who needs it.
Phoebe, so what are you guys announcing at this year's CES?
So I'm here to introduce our new product, the Vision Check 2, that you can use with your smartphone to test for nearsightedness, farsightedness, and astigmatism. You can use those numbers to then order glasses online. We have been honored with 2 CES Innovations Awards this year for this product.
This really could be a life-changing device, especially when we think about places in the world that lack medical professionals who might be able to take advantage of technologies like this. This really is for everyone, isn't it?
Absolutely. Anyone can use it as long as you have a phone. And we know for developing countries, they've basically skipped computers all at once, and everybody has a smartphone, and anyone with a phone can use this product. So people in developed countries, people have access to eye care, can use this product to test as often, as many times as they'd like, and keep track of vision changes over time, use those results to order glasses online. And people in developing countries that don't have traditional access to eye care can then use this technology to get the correction they need, because a lot of people who lack access are, really not seeing very well. I am very, very nearsighted. I can't imagine living a day without my glasses. So imagine people going through life with that. So any correction that we can give them at their fingertips will be really, really amazing. We could really change the world this way.
Vision care is one of the things that people don't really focus on when it comes to, all the devices that we monitor, our health with, when it comes to Apple Watch, for example. But eye care and eye health really is as important, if not more, is it not?
Yes. If you think about your vision, that's one of your most important senses. About 90% of all of the learning and perceiving your environment is done through sight. So this is an extremely important sense. And traditionally, you get a snapshot of your vision once a year. So the Quantify Self movement has really kicked into full gear in the last 5 years. People are way more health conscious. So vision is just that one more thing you could pay attention to, and we provide the tools for you to do that.
Phoebe, let me ask you, does this device replace the need to go to the eye doctor every year?
I would actually jump in and clarify that if all you need is to get updated numbers or track your vision, then our product is perfect for you. However, just like any other organs in your body, you need health checkups. So going to the eye doctor to get a regular eye health exam is really important. And we're out there to educate people on this. So you still should go to your eye doctor, just like you visit your physician to get your eye health examined. But if you just need to update numbers for new glasses, or if you want to track vision over time, you can use our product. That's what we offer.
Does the product give us any warning if something dramatic is going on, indicating that we might need to get some professional advice or a professional opinion?
That's actually a really great question, because within the app, we provide individual test results. So you, the user, can track those changes. Your vision should not change dramatically over a short period of time. But if you notice that change, most people who wear glasses will just notice that their glasses are all of a sudden really blurry, or things don't work from day to day. You can keep track of changes that way. However, this is an app, right? We can't really control the quality of the test that you administer. A lot of our users do really well. However, we are not here to give medical diagnostic advice, right? So just like in your car, there's a light that comes on, but it doesn't really tell you what it is until you bring it to the mechanic. And we do hope to, in the future, foster relationships with eye doctors, where doctors themselves and their office staff can monitor people's vision changes as they test using this device and alert the patient to come in for an exam if things change dramatically.
Thank you for being with us, Phoebe. And you guys at home, thank you for being here on our very special edition of Double Tap TV, talking all about CES 2021. Let's keep things moving. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, a homegrown company, based here in Canada, that has some tools to keep track of your loved ones. And no, I do not mean your pets. This is Double Tap TV.
Love Double Tap TV? Listen to AMI Audio for Double Tap Canada every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern for news and reviews on everything tech. This is Double Tap TV.
We are having such a great time talking to all these amazing companies at CES 2021. Welcome back to Double Tap TV, our CES 2021 special. I am Marc Aflalo. He is Stephen Scott. Stephen, you can't put a price on knowing that your closest family are safe and sound, can you not?
Of course you can. I mean, it's one of the most important things. And, it's really interesting to see how technology can help people, especially because you might get the impression that technology is something that older people or people with certain disabilities or conditions can't use.
Jacob Mashinsky is the founder and CEO of a Toronto-based company that is changing the way we think about keeping tabs on our loved ones. He's presenting at CES this year as part of a Canadian contingent and joins us this week. Jacob, thank you for being here. How does it feel to do a CES without actually being there in person?
It's different. I feel like I'm missing the interaction with people. It's a convenience. I can be in my pajamas, but I'm not able to network and see the faces of people as much as I would love to.
Jacob, tell us about Movieware and how you guys got started.
We started originally as a wearable company, which is like a smartwatch like this one here, which is a very nice, simple to use watch. You got a nice SOS button on the side, and it's easy to wear and use on the wrist, and it's got the basic, fall detection. It's got, GPS. You enter, you leave a place, and you're able to find out. You're able to make calls, receive calls, auto answer, find out if grandma has gotten to their place or not. But this is what I needed to do. I needed something to protect what happened to my great uncle. So if he does fall, whether it's inside or outside the house or slips on the ice, God forbid, I know about it right away because in our app. We have a full communication here. We see everything that's happening on there. We see where they are. We see what's happening on there. We get alerts. Everything is happening in real time. And that's where my company sort of started out. And we had the heart rate variability on there. And that's where I started out. And then I sort of realized, especially with COVID, beginning of this year, I said, whoa, we need to do something even further than that. Because, okay, we have the basics. We know where they are. We know what's happening there. We got the communication. Now where I've gotten into vital signs. So what I have up on the screen right now is my Movieware medical platform, which you can see either on a holistic picture from everybody on a computer, or you can actually go into the app and you can see it all on the app as well. And it's basically allows you to see everything you want of the vital signs of your loved ones without having to actually go into a hospital, go into a doctor's clinic and actually get the full medical test done.
Jacob, there are a couple of sides to this story. There's the consumer side, people who want to track their loved ones. That makes perfect sense. But then on the medical side, doctors can keep track of patients' vital signs remotely, can't they? So professionals can now treat their patients better. So what side of the business is the primary focus for you?
So it's a combination of both. What we like to do is make sure that we have the ability to do what's needed for both sides. So we have the ability to have the doctors and the personal support worker agencies monitor them. But as I mentioned before, we're getting to the data, the era of self-regulation, self-medication almost. I hate to say that word. Doctors will shoot me by saying that. But it's true. People want to know what's happening with them. And in doing so, that's where we are right now. We're at the stage where we sell it to both consumers and to businesses, because we can sell the consumers to hold the devices, which are not expensive. These devices are under $100, and the watches are also within that range. So it's affordable. And I think that's where we are. We're able to have the basically everything that we need for both.
I can just imagine the different applications, whether it's remote medicine or the telemedicine world. They could really use this to step up their game.
That's exactly where I'm going to right now with a Maple. There's other customers that have, one of our customers is Relic Health based out of Hamilton, a lot of customers. And they do exactly that. The same thing as Maple. Telemedicine, monitor people's vital signs. They monitor their health for appointments. And now they're going into the vital signs as well with our apparatuses.
So where is your company at in terms of availability of the products, Jacob?
We just launched our platform with our new button, which you can sit on the desk as well. We have those available on our movieware.com website right now. And what's great about it, it's all readily available. So, some of the information we have on there, but just go onto the movieware.com website, and here's my information. And you can just log in and purchase it through there as well.
Thanks, Jacob. Now, before we let you go, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
That's an amazing question. And I think my vision is, I think it's very simple, is to move away from devices like these ones and continue to evolving our AI, deep learning. We call this up on 3 different levels of artificial intelligence, and deep learning being the most furthest one. And getting into that aspect where I can just take my application and take my software and just pop it into an app onto any devices that may be out there. And in doing so, we can get all this data. We can get all these vital sign and medical data. That's what my vision is, to become sort of the leader, one of the leaders in artificial intelligence for vital signs. And we can do that without having to rely on our own specific wearables.
Jacob Mashinsky, thank you so much for taking the time to join us this week. For more information, guys at home, do check out movieware.com. After a quick break, we're going to turn the spotlight on some of the assistive tech at this year's conference. Stick around. It is Double Tap TV.
For more great Double Tap TV content, visit ami.ca/doubletap. This is Double Tap TV.
Welcome back to Double Tap TV. Thank you guys for being here. If you want to get in touch, our email address is always available to you. It's feedback@ami.ca. And do follow us on Twitter. If you're not already a follower, then we'll follow you back if you follow us. I promise. I absolutely promise. It is at Double Tap Canada. I do promise. It is at Double Tap Canada with the hashtag AskDoubleTap. I am Marc Aflalo. Stephen Scott is with me as always. Stephen, let's shift gears a little bit because you've got a little package for us.
Yes. As we've seen, there are an incredible amount of new technologies being shown at CES in 2021. The pace of change is often hard to get our heads around. I know from my own perspective, being there last year in person, it was incredible. This year, no different, even virtually. However, in the assistive technology world, things tend to move a little slower. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't innovations worth talking about, and I want to share some of those with you. One such innovation that was announced last year and has been showcased once again in 2021 at CES is the Mantis Q40 Braille display from the American Printing House for the Blind. You might remember us talking about it on a previous Double Tap TV. Now, this is a 40-cell Braille display, but instead of the traditional Perkins-style key layout most of these devices have, the Mantis Q40 has a QWERTY keyboard instead, hence the Q in the title. Now, this means that you no longer have to reach across the Braille keys to input text using a separate QWERTY keyboard. Moreover, like all other Braille displays, as you type, the Braille display at the bottom presents written information. Now, the Mantis Q40 can work as a standalone note taker, or you can hook it up via cable or Bluetooth to a Mac, a PC, or an iOS device. Android and Chromebook support, we're told, is coming soon. Now, it sells for a hefty $2,495 US. Wow, I know. Now, I'm getting so used now to working from home, and my desire for tech to make that experience better is growing every day. Thankfully, CES had a ton of options for me to think about. One company that has been adopted by the blind community in particular is Aftershokz, makers of wireless bone conduction earphones. They've been showcasing their latest version of Aeropex, the now standard issue style of Aftershok's headphones that wrap around the back of your head and sit on your cheekbones, meaning that there is nothing on or in your ears. It's great for being spatially aware at home while keeping an ear on that Teams call that you've been dragged onto. But it's their newest product that really got my attention. The OpenCom headset, and that's com with 2 M's, has the same traditional Aftershok's design, but with the addition of a flexible and adjustable mic boom that comes out from the side of the headset. Now, one of my biggest gripes about Aftershok's was the mic in their earphones. It wasn't the best, if I'm honest, but this might just be the solution. Now, it comes in at a cool $209 Canadian, if you want to check that out. Now, it's not just devices that are on show at CES. This year, we saw a range of apps aimed at the disabled community as well. One such app is Aware. Now, this offers turn-by-turn descriptive navigation for users who can place their phone in their pocket and listen as the app announces places that you pass. So what you do is you input where you want to go, and it will tell you when you've arrived. Let's hear it in action.
The image is blurry and dark. Looks like the hallway of a high school. A blind student stands in the middle of the hallway wearing a Bluetooth earpiece. He switches on the Aware Audio Indoor Navigation app on his phone.
Bluetooth on. High school lobby.
The student enters the office.
Main office. The receptionist is straight ahead.
Okay, so that's it in action. Now, the company even suggests, like you heard there, that the app can provide an audio description of locations indoors, such as a store's layout, in a school like you just heard. It's really interesting, isn't it? So Aware is made by the company Sensible Innovations. It's available now on iOS. Android support is coming soon. Now, with the pandemic ongoing, care of our loved ones is tricky at best. Knowing they're okay, being able to communicate with them is so important. We've already demonstrated that. But many seniors may not have access to Zoom or FaceTime via an iPad or similar so that we can check in with them. And even if they did have it, well, they might not even know how to use it. How many times have you had that conversation in the family? So how can we make sure that we're able to keep in touch easily with those loved ones? Well, there are a lot of tech companies who are aiming their tech just at this group of people. And that was on display at CES in 2021. GrandPad is a tablet device that caught my attention, mainly because of its simplicity. Even the box has clear directions on how to open it and get into the tablet inside. You don't need Wi-Fi to get it going either because it has 4G built in. Now, once set up, it has a very simple layout with large buttons to call, email, look at photos, and use the camera. And there are lots of other options available as well that you can move through with clearly labeled buttons to guide you. Now, family calling is probably the biggest reason to have this, and being able to make a call or receive a call from a loved one easily and see their face and hear their voice makes such a difference in these difficult times. So what is also cool about this is that the GrandPad lets seniors join in on those family Zoom calls as well and participate just like everyone else. For family members, it's easy to connect with your family member through the Companion app, which is available on your smartphone. It's a really capable device with lots of other features, such as a music player, so you can enjoy those classic songs you love, or perhaps you want to know the weather forecast. GrandPad can assist as well. Now, for sales in Canada, visit grandpad.net to find out more. It's a very interesting product for sure. So that's my top assistive tech picks from CES 2021. But what about the experience of attending CES virtually as a blind person? Well, Shelley Brisbane is the host of the Parallel podcast on the Relay FM network and is a regular contributor to our Double Tap Canada show on AMI Audio. She told me about her experiences of the event and how she navigated the virtual world.
Yeah, I was excited about the idea of a virtual CES because it created a level playing field, so to speak. Not only did I not have to deal with the idea of making an expensive and tiring trip to Las Vegas where I wouldn't get to see everything I wanted to see, but it meant that I could spend as much or as little time as I wanted to engaging with the content that was there. Well, I'm not a screen reader user. I'm normally working with high contrast, sometimes with magnification. So I didn't have some of those issues. So it was a pretty good experience for me, but I don't want to, discount the experiences of those who did have accessibility issues. I know CES made some attempts. I don't know how successful they always were, but the CES organizers made an attempt to focus on accessibility and were aware that that was a situation that needed to be addressed, probably much more so than they would have been in past years, or certainly much more so than an in-person conference experience.
Shirley Brisbane there. So another interesting year for accessibility. Great to see so many, not only underrepresented groups get the attention that they deserve. And we have more on that coming up shortly, Mark, don't we?
Yes, we do. Coming up to wrap up this year's special edition of Double Tap TV for CES 2021, we'll talk about some of the charitable angles of CES. Stick around.
For more great Double Tap TV content, visit ami.ca/doubletap. This is Double Tap TV.
We are back to wrap things up on our special edition of Double Tap TV for CES 2021. Thank you guys for being with us. I am Marc Aflalo, and Stephen Scott is always by my side. And we're going to welcome our next guest, who's the Executive Director of the Consumer Technology Association's Foundation, Steve Ewell. Steve, thank you for being with us. Tell us a little bit about the foundation.
Sure. So we are a charitable foundation. So we spend a lot of our time working with nonprofit organizations that are using different types of technology. So we give grants to a number of different organizations representing really across the disability spectrum, as well as in the aging space, and looking at ways that they can use technology for, helping people, live, work, and play independently through the use of different types of technologies. We also pilot different types of technology. So we've run a couple different pilot projects using different nonprofits and different companies' devices. And then, certainly we do a lot of bringing together the industry and, advocacy groups and other organizations working on making things more accessible and building those relationships that can really, help build products that are going to work well for all of us.
Well, that's the key point, really, isn't it? I mean, there is so much technology on show at CES, but it's so important that we make sure as advocates for this, especially in your role, that products are accessible to all and we promote that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's, incredibly important to make sure that, devices can work for as many people as possible. And, that's why over the last few years, we launched the foundation about 8 years ago now. And we've really been building up the focus on accessibility as part of CES, but also as part of what we're doing throughout the year. So, at CES, we often have a number of assistive technology companies that are exhibiting there, but we also have, really, as far as accessibility goes, it's not one piece of the show because it really cuts across all of CES. So whether we're talking about smart home or digital health or vehicle tech, accessibility is a component to each and every piece of CES. So we really look at how we can build up that story, how we can work with the companies to better understand how they can reach the needs of the consumers, and then highlight, what's going well as help share where there's challenges. So, I'm always really excited. We bring out a number of disability advocates to attend CES each year and meet with different companies. Obviously, this year is a little bit different in the fact that we're all attending digitally instead of being able to be in person and doing those meetings. But we still had a great group of participants be able to have meetings. We kick off every CES with a big accessibility roundtable where we bring together, about 50 people from both industry and advocacy groups to talk about what's working and what's not, and really use that as something to build this conversation moving forward.
Steve, just the knowledge that this is going on is a pretty big deal, which is why we're bringing attention to it. And these conversations happen every year at CES, right?
Oh, absolutely. And that is really what's so important is having these conversations and getting both sides of the equation to really understand, where each of them are coming from and, why was this product designed in a certain way, but also, how could it be designed in a different way that would work better for more consumers. And that opens up a wider market for the companies that are looking to build these products. And, one of the things that I always love is, Eureka Park, which is the area where so many startups exhibit, and the opportunity to engage with these startup founders, because often, the person manning the booth, whether it's digital this year or, in person in previous years, they're often the person who built the product. And so having a chance to sit down and hear from, organizations like, American Foundation for the Blind, Hearing Loss Association of America, the ARC, other, just so many different disability organizations that we work with, and find out, how those products could be better designed for their membership base. But it's also a great way for the advocacy organizations to come back to their members and say, we found, these products there that actually could be a really interesting use case for people with vision loss, people with hearing loss, whichever community they're talking to, and be able to highlight those. So we really see benefits from both sides, but it's really important to have those conversations happening.
It's part of our ethos here at Double Tap TV to really promote how mainstream technology can work for everyone. I mean, an example I use a lot is the iPhone. This was a piece of technology that was not built for blind or partially sighted people, but the tools inside mean it's an off-the-shelf solution for anyone who's blind or partially sighted. And that's really important, isn't it, to promote that, yes, specialist technology is great. And of course it is. No one would ever argue that point. But it's so important that we make these products mass market because it makes them cheaper and it makes them more available and more accessible to everyone. And everyone can benefit from accessibility tools.
Well, and that's one of the interesting pieces is because, mainstream technology can be accessible. And we are seeing more and more of that as, so many things can run through whether, iOS or Android or, whichever phone system you happen to be on, tying into the built-in accessibility. As long as the apps are designed the right way, there's really some great opportunities to, reach accessibility kind of across a wide range of products, but also bring the economies of scale that come with these general consumer devices that can make, more affordable products just because they're reaching so many different people. That is absolutely one of the major stories that we continue to see. But we also do a lot of work with the assistive technology products as well. Things like, American Printing House for the Blind has been exhibiting for years, and they're back at the show this year, showing off a number of their devices for the blind community. And then, Good Maps actually was just awarded one of the Best of CES awards by Engadget as an accessible mapping solutions. So, we're always excited to see, the assistive devices there right alongside and working with the general consumer technology products.
Steve Ewell, thank you so much for being with us this week. Stephen Scott, that was a little easier than being in Las Vegas, wasn't it, if you compare it to last year?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot easier this year. I loved being part of CES Virtual. And, I really hope they do this again. I know that there's, who knows what's going to happen, right? I mean, let's not predict next week, never mind next year. But I think it's so important that these things we've learned out of the pandemic of how we can connect with each other, people who can't make the trip or can't travel because of the costs simply, or perhaps due to disability. It's so important that we can come together. So even if CES becomes an event again, and I'm sure it will one day, that this virtual component remains. So I can be lazy and live at home in my onesie.
Well, they did a pretty good job at delivering it to us virtually, which is a great kudos to the CTA, the Consumer Technology Association. We're going to be talking to a lot of companies over the coming weeks. CES, I guess the conversation really does last quite some time, and we're just scraping the surface, even though it was an hour-long special edition of Double Tap TV. That's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't already, email us. It's feedback@ami.ca. Follow us on Twitter. It is @DoubleTapCanada. And send us a nice note with the hashtag #AskDoubleTap. Thank you for being here. On behalf of Stephen Scott, I am Marc Aflalo. We'll see you again next week here on Double Tap TV.
For more great Double Tap TV content, visit ami.ca/doubletap. Hosted by Marc Aflalo and Stephen Scott. Editing, Will Latar. Production assistants, Wendy Kaufman. Content review, Zachary Aflalo. Social media, Andy Wynn. Segment producer, Sean Priest. Voiceover, Anna Vicino. Integrated Described Video Specialist, Ron Rickford. Coordinating producer, Jennifer Johnson. Director, Production, Kara Nye. Director, Programming, Brian Perdue. VP Content Development and Programming, John Melville. President and CEO, David Arrington. Copyright 2021, Accessible Media, Inc.